bring in the parties. Wait, I think I've lost, there's Mr. Thomas.
Oh no.
Ms. Thomas, I have you as Tamara Griffin.
Last name Thomas, but that was my maiden name, Griffin. So it's still me.
All right. Okay, that's why I couldn't figure out who you were.
Oh, okay.
Let's see. I think Mr. Thomas is connecting. Mr. Thomas, are you with us? Mr. Thomas, are you with us? Mr. Thomas?
Can you hear me?
Yes, are you Mr. Thomas?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I have Ms. Tamara Griffin Thomas also. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get started on this case that we have. The court is calling now case number 2020 DCM 1006. This is a petition in suit affecting parent-child relationship. The parties in this case are James Thomas and Tamara Griffin Thomas. My name is Antonio Rodriguez. I'm the Associate Judge for the Title 4D Court here in El Paso, Texas. We are appearing in this format through a Zoom application called the Zoom, since we cannot appear in court because of the pandemic that's going on. The courts have allowed us to proceed on a remote basis. Parties in this case, as indicated, Mr. Thomas and Ms. Griffin, both are present. The Attorney General is also present. There are a few ground rules that I'd like to go ahead and instruct the parties. Since we are appearing through the Zoom application, I will remind parties that you are appearing as you were if we were in court. This hearing is being conducted, like I said, through the Zoom application. I'm going to ask parties not to talk over each other, only one person talking at the same time. This hearing is being streamed through the live YouTube application as well. And the court is recording this evidence testimony. So I'd instruct both parties not to record the transcript or recording the testimony at this time. Those are the basic ground rules in this case. I'd ask the parties to observe those ground rules. And at this time, I'd ask the Attorney General to make an announcement on this matter.
Lindsay Kaplan for the state, Your Honor, ready?
All right. Mr. Thomas, are you ready to proceed in this matter?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Griffin Thomas, are you ready to proceed in this matter?
Yes.
All right, I'm going to ask both of you to raise your right hands. And I'm assuming that you are raising your hands because I can't see you on the monitor. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Yes. I did.
All right. Both parties answered in the affirmative. All right, Ms. Kaplan, go ahead.
Yes, Your Honor. The state calls Ms. Griffin Thomas as a witness, Your Honor.
Okay.
Ma'am, what is your full legal name?
Tamara Angela Griffin Thomas.
Who are you married to?
James Thomas.
When did you marry Mr. Thomas?
March 5th, 2002.
Who is James Henry Thomas Jr.?
He is my son.
How old is he?
He is 17.
Who does he live with?
He lives with me
How long has he lived with you?
his entire life.
Do you live in El Paso, Texas?
Yes.
When did you separate from Mr. Thomas?
Uh, he moved out January 2017.
And has he provided support for your son since that time?
No, he has not.
Since the separation, have you been able to share in decision making regarding your son with Mr. Thomas?
I have attempted to speak with him on matters, but we don't really speak.
So you're not able to make decisions together regarding your son?
No,
Who has made all the decisions for your son since the separation?
I have made all the decisions for my son.
Would you like to be able to live anywhere with your son?
Yes,
And why is that in your son's best interest?
just for stability.
Do you have any work or educational opportunities outside of El Paso?
I am, no, not presently, no.
Has Mr. Thomas visited your son since the separation?
He has been in contact with him via phone, and he will take him to get a haircut every now and again. They have also gone out to eat and went to the movies.
Does he have a regular time that he visits your son?
No, he does not.
Do you have any concerns about Mr. Thomas visiting your son?
I have concerns due to threats that he has made.
What type of threats?
He has threatened to do harm to me, my children, and the dog.
And for that reason, do you believe it's in your best interest and your children's best interest for your address and other personal information not to be disclosed in a court order?
Yes, I would prefer it.
Is there a public place that you feel safe exchanging your child for visits?
I'm sure there's some place that we could meet up, but exactly where, I cannot say right now. You can say maybe a gas station or McDonald's. I don't know.
Do you know if Mr. Thomas has any other children?
Not that I'm aware of.
Do you know if Mr. Thomas is currently working, ma'am?
Yes, he is working.
Do you know how much he earns at his job?
Uh, yes.
How much?
He had documented, I believe it was 3,200.
Monthly?
Uh, yes. To my knowledge, I'm assuming that's minus overtime and whatnot.
What type of work does he do?
Postal. He's
How long has he worked for the post office?
Since 2018, I want to say. In November, around November timeframe.
How do you know that Mr. Thomas works at the post office?
He had mentioned it.
And how do you know that he earns 3,200 a month?
We had filled out documentation to refinance our home, and he had to document what he made.
Does Mr. Thomas have health insurance through his place of employment for your son?
No, he does not. Well,
Does your
not.
son have?
I'm
Sorry, go
sorry.
ahead.
Not that I'm aware of. He does not.
How is your child insured?
I pay for health insurance
Through your employer?
through TRICARE.
Are you active duty or reservist?
No, he is retired, and since I'm the spouse, I can pay for the insurance.
And your son will continue to have that insurance?
Yes.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Let me just ask some questions of Ms. Thomas. Ms. Thomas, are you still married to Mr. Thomas?
Yes.
No divorce has been filed?
No.
When was the last time that Mr. Thomas visited with a child?
He had dropped some money off to him on his birthday on the 11th of this month.
Okay, did he, did your son go visit, go spend any time with him?
When he wants to see him, he'll tell him he'll take him to go get a haircut,
Okay.
and he'll bring him back, or maybe they may go out to eat, and then he'll
Okay.
bring him back.
Do you have any problems or any issues with Mr. Thomas visiting with your son?
I would like for him to have a relationship with him. I just would like everyone to be safe.
Okay. Okay. All right, thank you, ma'am. And any other questions for Ms. Thomas Griffin?
No other questions for Ms. Thomas from the state at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. Any other evidence or testimony?
The state calls Mr. Thomas.
All right, go ahead.
Sir, what is your legal name?
James Henry Thomas Sr.
And who is James Henry Thomas Jr.?
He is my son.
Where does he live?
He lived with his mother,
How old is he?
17.
Are you still married to Miss Thomas?
Yes,
When did you get married?
March the 5th, 2002.
When did you separate from Miss Thomas?
January 28th, 2017.
Since the separation, have you participated in major decision making for your son?
No,
Why?
because when I call Tamara, she doesn't answer the phone. And if I text her, she won't answer me until like 4 to 5 days later.
Would you like to participate in major decision making?
Yes,
Would you like your son to be able to live anywhere?
yes.
How often do you visit your son?
Well, I work during the nights. So usually when I'm not working or if I have time early before I go to sleep, I'll call or text him like days prior to see if I can pick him up. And there's been times where his mom is like, no, you can't go with your dad. No, you can't go with your dad.
Why is that?
I have no idea.
Sir, do you have safety concerns regarding anyone?
No, ma'am.
Has there ever been family violence between you and anyone?
No, ma'am.
Do you have concerns about visiting your son?
Yes, when I text her, if I can pick him up, she won't answer 3 to 4 to 5 days later.
Is there a public location that is convenient for you to exchange your son for visitation?
Anywhere. Now, I do have a question. Since he's 17, he has the right to make a decision who he wants to live with, right?
Uh, Sir, I can't answer that right now. If
Okay.
you'll give me a moment to finish my questions, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you currently working, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Where do you work?
I work for the U.S. Postal System. I am a part-time employee, which means my position can be terminated at any time.
How much do you earn at your job, sir?
Roughly 3,000 a month.
You earn 3,000 a month at your job working part-time?
Yes, ma'am.
You said roughly 3,000 a month. Is it
Yes, ma'am.
exactly 3,000 or is it more than 3,000?
It's usually less sometimes because sometimes there's no overtime. So it's roughly about that much. Usually sometimes it comes in around 1,246 every 2 weeks.
Do you know how much you earn exactly per month?
No, ma'am, because it fluctuates due to the hours that are worked.
On average, you earn 3,000 a month.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have health insurance available for your son, sir?
Yes, ma'am. He is enrolled in TRICARE Standard, and he's been enrolled in TRICARE Standard since November the 1st, 2015,
And will
which
he have that? Oh, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead, sir.
which means she doesn't have to pay because TRICARE Standard means she can go to any doctor that's needed for him to see someone.
And will that insurance be available for your son until he turns 18 or graduates high school?
Yes, ma'am.
And does that insurance cost you anything?
No, ma'am. It is actually free.
Have you provided support for your son since the separation?
Yes, ma'am. I'm the one that usually takes him school shopping. And I also offered Tamara $800 a month. And she replied, that's not enough.
If you had to assign a dollar amount to the school items that you've purchased since the separation, how much would you say that is?
Roughly over 1,300 bucks.
And you'd like to get credit for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any proof of those purchases with you here today?
No, ma'am, I do not.
And when did you separate from Miss Thomas?
January 28th, 2017.
And all of the school supply purchases were after that time?
Yes, ma'am. And then while I was living there, I also bought his school clothes also.
And you have no other children, correct, sir?
I have no other children.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
I do have a question.
Go
Yes.
ahead, sir.
As part of child support, the vehicle is not part of child support, correct? Because child support covers all transportational needs for the child.
Okay, what do you mean there's a vehicle covered as child support? What do you mean by that?
I have a vehicle that she has, and since I'll be paying child support, I would like the vehicle returned to me, please. And the vehicle's in my name, insurance-wise and everything.
Okay, well, that's a issue of property and debts. That would be covered in any divorce action if it is filed.
Okay, and also effective February the 1st, there has been money subtracted from my disability in the amount of $1355.81.
So you're drawing disability right now?
Yes, sir.
How much are you receiving in disability?
Say again, sir.
How much are you receiving in disability?
3516.35.
3516?
Yes, sir.
Are you telling me that your son is receiving 1355?
Yes, sir.
Is that a month?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that income is also in addition to your work at Postal Service.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Thomas, how often, if we were to develop a schedule for you to visit with your son, how often would you like to visit? Or is it something that you and Ms. Thomas Griffin can work out?
I would like to visit him at least twice a week on my days off, which my days off, they usually change.
Okay, you don't have, so you don't have a regular time where you can, that you're not working?
No, sir, because my days off, they're changing just about every 2 to 3 weeks.
You work on weekends?
Yes, sir.
Every weekend?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you, sir. Any other questions for Mr. Thomas, Ms. Kaplan?
Yes, Mr. Thomas, you said you received VA disability in the amount of 3517 monthly. Is that correct?
Yes, but that amount has now been cut to 2160.54.
And why is that?
The 1355.81 that's been taken out for child support.
Through VA apportionment?
Yes, ma'am.
And that started February 1st of 2020?
Yes.
Do you have a child support order in any other state?
No, ma'am.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Okay, so Mr. Thomas, you're telling me that your son has been receiving $1,355 since February of this year?
That's the amount on the letter that I received, sir. Payment start date, February 1st, 2020.
Okay. When did you retire from the military?
November the 1st, 2015.
All right, thank you, sir. Ms. Kaplan, any other questions for either party?
Yes, permission to recall Ms. Thomas.
All right, go ahead.
Ms.
Yes.
Thomas, is your son in fact receiving $1,355.81?
No, he doesn't receive that. That dollar amount. I did find out that I was receiving that like 2 weeks ago. No, not even that. Maybe a week and a half ago.
I have
So
the doc-
I did get. They did award 1,355.81, I believe he said, but only 250 of that is child support. Is for James.
What does the rest of the money go to? Do you know?
It goes to me. It's an apportionment for the both of us.
So it goes to you and your son.
Yes.
How much of that amount goes to you, ma'am?
The remaining amount of minus 250.
So it is your testimony to this court that of the $1,355.81 taken by VA apportionment, that only 250 of that amount is for the support of your son,
Yes, ma'am.
and the rest is for your support?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
The check is divided and it has our name on it, and it is also noted on the letter what amount goes to James and what amount goes to myself.
Do you have that letter with you here today?
I do have a letter here with me.
Is it possible for you to show that letter or email it to the court?
Yes, that's fine.
Ma'am, I'm texting you the judge's email address through the chat feature. If you could email that document for the court to view it, please.
Yes.
Kaplan, any other questions, please?
Uh, no other questions from the state at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Thomas,
Yes,
later
sir.
on, I need for you to clear up something for me, sir. The money that you get from the VA, is it because of disability or retirement, or what is the source of that income?
Disability.
Disability.
Yes, sir.
And do you have proof that your son receives $1,355 a month from your disability?
I have a letter stating allotment amount 1355.81.
Okay. And does it say who gets that money?
It just says allotment granted.
Okay. But you don't know if that's supposed to be portion between your spouse and your son.
No, sir. I had no idea.
I'm not sure how VA works on that, Ms. Kaplan. Do you have any information on how disability payments are paid out? Is it to the custodial parent or to the child or anything like that?
I'm not aware, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, Ms. Thomas, when you get that money, is that, are you getting two different checks or is it one check that you get or how is it apportioned?
It's 2 different checks.
Two different checks.
Yes.
And your son received 255, I think you said.
He received $250.
I'm sorry, 250?
Yes, $250.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hmm.
Kaplan, any other testimony or evidence?
No other evidence or testimony at this time, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, I meant to ask Mr. Thomas, no divorce has been filed, is that correct?
That is correct.
Mr. Thomas, you've not filed a divorce?
No, Your Honor, because I tried to reach an agreement with her prior to, so we can do a non-contestant.
Okay, but no divorce has been filed, that's my question.
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right, based on the testimony of the parties, I'm going to appoint both parties joint managing conservators of the child. Ms. Thomas will have the primary possession of the child. As far as visitation, there is a standard visitation schedule that applies when a child is over the age of 3. Um, that schedule will be attached to the petition. I will encourage both parties to be reasonable with each other. And the reason I'm saying that is that it appears that Mr. Thomas's schedule varies. So if you all can work out the visitation schedule between yourselves, that's fine. Otherwise, it'll be the standard visitation schedule.
I'm sorry, what is considered the standard visiting schedule?
The standard visitation schedule will be attached to the order, but it's basically the first, third, and fifth weekend of each month. And then it also makes provisions for during the week, either on a Thursday, I think it's Thursday, or Wednesday, certain hours. It also provides for holidays, such as the holidays that are coming up, Father's Day, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and also provides for those holidays as well. So I encourage both of you to be reasonable with each other so that visitation can be worked out. That's what we call a standard visitation schedule.
Okay, can I?
Yes, ma'am.
My question is, if at all possible, is there a way for it to be supervised, or perhaps he gets some counseling for the threats that he has made?
Well, I didn't hear very much on testimony with regard to any threats of physical violence.
He has threatened to kill me, myself, my kids, and the dog.
Okay. All right. This is what I'm going to do in that situation. Then there is a program that is operated through the Domestic Relations Office. They call that the Access and Facilitation Program. I'll refer this matter of visitation to that unit so that they can try and work out kind of visitation issues and address any concerns that either party may have. So both parties are ordered to participate in that program and to be comply with any of the terms and regulations of that program. So scratch the standard visitation, and parties are referred to the Domestic Relations Office to work out the visitation problem. If it calls for some sort of visitation that is supervised or in some neutral place where they can drop off and pick up the child, that's one alternative, but I'll leave that up to the social workers, the case workers to come up with that plan after they talk to both of you.
Okay.
No geographical restriction. Let's see. All right. Of course, keep in mind that whatever orders I issue today, if there is a divorce action filed, that divorce court may make changes on the orders that I'm issuing here today. All right. Captain, what is the state's recommendation on child support matters?
Yes, Your Honor. The state recommends child support of $758 a month. The state arrived at this amount by taking into account the $3,000 a month per Mr. Thomas' testimony that he receives from the post office and the $35.17 in VA benefits per his testimony that he does receive. Also taking into account the $250 per Ms. Thomas testimony that is a portion for the benefit of the child, the subject of the suit. So the original figure is 1,008 minus the 250 received in VA benefits for the benefit of the child. This is how the state arrives at $758 a month in child support. And the state recommends the $758 a month per month beginning July 1st of 2020. The state further recommends a retroactive child support judgment in the amount of $31,836. This amount was arrived at by calculating date of separation being January of 2017 until today, with the monthly child support amount of $758. The state requests that this be repaid at $100 a month until paid, also beginning July 1st of 2020. The state further recommends that Mr. Thomas be ordered to maintain TRICARE for the benefit of the child. And lastly, the state requests that Ms. Thomas' personal information not be disclosed due to the safety concerns expressed.
Um, tell me how the retroactive support was calculated.
The retroactive support was calculated by taking the number of months from January of 2017 until today, 42 months at $758 a month.
Wait a minute, 2017, that's 42 months.
Yes, 42 months, $758, which is the child support amount that was calculated with giving credit for the VA apportionment amount, is how the state arrived at this retroactive child support judgment.
Does that retroactive amount not take into account any direct payments?
The state refers to the court whether or not to give credit for the $1,200 that Mr. Thomas testified that he purchased in school supply item, as Mr. Thomas did not have proof of those items. So if credit were to be given for the school supplies as against the judgment amount would then decrease to $30,636.
Well, how about the payments that the child is receiving?
The payments that the child is receiving was credited against the support amount itself, because the support amount as calculated would have been $1,008.07, rounded to the nearest dollars, $1,008, based on Mr. Thomas' income, including all income, even including VA benefits prior to any deductions or apportionments or anything of that nature. But per the testimony of Ms. Thomas, $250 of that apportionment goes to the support of her son. So the $250 was taken from the original calculated guideline amount of $1,008 to arrive at the 758, and the 758 was what the retroactive judgment was based on for the past 42 months. However, per the testimony of the parties, the apportionment was not received until February 1st of 2020. So permission to recalculate the retroactive judgment prior to that time, if I may have a moment to do that.
Ma'am, I have one more question for you because
Yes.
you might need to recalculate again. He did not include his retirement check amount.
I included are you saying there's a retirement check separate and apart from the VA benefits?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
Because he received retirement back when he retired in 2015.
All right, for the benefit of the parties, state is recommending child support to be set at $758 a month, commencing on July 1st. Medical support to be continued to be covered through the TRICARE system. State is recommending a judgment for retroactive back child support in the amount of $31,836. That's what I got, Ms. Kaufman. Okay, that's what the state is recommending. With regard to the child support amount, Mr. Thomas, do you disagree with that amount, sir?
Well, I have 2 cars to pay for.
I'm sorry, what?
I have 2 cars to pay for. I have insurance to pay for. I have an apartment to pay for. But yeah, I'll take the 758. Now the $100. What was that for again?
That would be, I think that's for the payment on the judgment for retroactive or back child support.
So it'd be $858 a month.
That's what I order. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Ms. Thomas, are you in agreement with their recommendation on the child support amount?
No, we're missing an additional $2,649 that he gets for retirement.
Kaplan, was that calculated? Taken into account?
No, Your Honor. The 3,000 from the post office and the 3,517 in VA benefits were the amounts that I used to arrive at my calculation.
Well, that's the evidence I heard also. Ms. Thomas, are you saying that he has an additional income?
Yes.
I didn't hear any testimony with regard to that. Mr. Thomas, is your income from income that you receive from the Postal Service and from the VA disability?
Yes, sir. Now
Do you have any additional income?
I receive retirement, sir, in the amount of, I believe it's 24. The reason she's assuming that it's 26 because there's money that come out for survivor's benefit. So in case I pass, she would get a certain amount if I pass away.
All right. I'm going to follow the recommendation, set child support at $758 a month, TRICARE, and I'm granting a judgment for retroactive support in the sum of $18,192. You've paid an additional $100 a month. If either party is dissatisfied with the ruling here today, you do have the right to appeal my decision. However, you have 3 days from today's date to file an appeal. The referring court in this case is the Honorable Judge, the judge of the 383rd District Court. That's the Honorable Judge Mike Herrera. His courtroom is up on the 11th floor of the county courthouse. However, you do have 3 days from today's date to file an appeal.
So I would need to go to the courthouse. It's open for appeals.
I'm saying that if you want to file an appeal, either party wants to file an appeal, you have 3 days to do that.
And we're not counting his additional 2,000 some odd dollars.
I'm making a ruling as far as what the evidence has been shown in this court hearing.
He just said that he gets
Ma'am, that is
2,000.
my ruling here today.
Oh,
I'm going to follow
okay.
the recommendation. That's the recommendation of the state.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Hello?
Yes.
Was she recalculating the retroactive? I thought she was.
She made a recommendation and I made my own ruling as far as what the veteran.
Okay. Okay.
All right, Ms. Kaplan, you will prepare the order, send it to me. I will sign it. Both parties will receive a copy of the order once I sign it, and it is filed with the clerk's office. Anything else, Ms. Kaplan?
Nothing further from the state at this time, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you very much. That concludes our hearing in this case. Parties are excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay. For some reason, I don't have anybody else showing up. JC, have you heard from anybody? Has anybody shown up to court?
No, sir, nobody else here. Apparently there was some,
Who was that couple that was there at the downstairs?
it wasn't a couple, sir. It was just one party, but it was for next door at 12:15 next door.
Oh, it was next door?
Correct.
Okay. Well, let me just check one thing. I don't know what happened to Mr. Mena. Have you all heard from Mr. Mena?
Yes, Your Honor. I talked to him just this afternoon to verify that he had the Zoom link. And I sent him the Zoom link for the 1 p.m. hearings for today, but he said that he had a different Zoom link of 997-14561-613.
Okay. All right, then the other case that I had, Xavier Martinez and Gabriela Gonzalez, probably nobody has shown up on that one. It's a suit affecting parent-child relationship. I guess we will go ahead and reset that one.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Let me do this. Let me end this session and go to go back into the Zoom application and see if maybe the